Hi guys. So this video is going to pick up where the last video left off. The first video showed you how to extract the files from the zip folder and upload them to Design Space. In this video, we'll be editing or modifying that template in Design Space. I hope you enjoy, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to my page for more videos like this. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do here, so we're just going to go in order of how the images are lined up. I'm going to select my first image. I'm going to go over here in the right hand corner and select Ungroup. So what that does is it separates all of the layers. So now we can see this is no longer in a group over here on the right. It's separated into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into the 6 layers that it is. So what I would like to do is separate the white layer there so that I can duplicate it. I can go over here to the right and select it here and then go to duplicate, or I can go right to the image and select it and then duplicate. So I'm going to select duplicate here. Now I have only that white image duplicated, not the entire flap here. Okay, and then the next thing that I want to do is, right now the way that this is showing, this black layer is a full sheet of paper with the white covering it. Now that's going to be a bit much because we're already going to have a sheet of cardstock that's going to go on the inside of our card. So that's what these flaps are going to be glued to. So you don't want so many layers. So what I like to do, now you can definitely leave it in all those layers if you want to, but what I like to do is use the slice option, which is going to separate these. You'll see what I'm talking about once I select it. So that way the black is only going to be a border. So what I'm going to do is take my mouse and highlight just those two images. I was sure not to get the red and green stripes there or the black circle because then it all would be included. You can only slice two images together at a time. I'm going to go back over here to the right. I'm going to select slice. All right, now if you look up at the top in the right hand corner here, you can see that we've got 1, 2, 3 different slice results. And you can tell that's what you sliced because it'll say slice result. So what we want to get rid of is the full black sheet. So I can go ahead and take that away. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it because I know I'm not going to need it. I'm going to delete that. And then you can also see here that it moved those images to the front, so those stripes are gone. But let me just show you here what I mean. If I take away the white paper, now you can see there's no black behind there because we sliced it and all we have now is the border for the outside. And I prefer it to be that way. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is that duplicate piece of white that we chose. We are going to take one of our Gucci images. Remember, we have 3 of the Gucci print images there. I'm going to take that and move it over here. Now we're going to slice that on top of here so that it's all together. So I want to select my Gucci print. I can just select that image or I can go over to the right. It's much easier to just select the image with your mouse. I'm going to use the arrow at the right bottom corner. I'm going to select that and then I'm going to move up to make my image smaller. Now I like to, and you can size this however you like because it's definitely up to you how you want it to look. Let's go ahead and select the Gucci print and go to Arrange because you see it's behind the white. We're going to go to Arrange and select Center Front. That way it's in front there. So I prefer to slice it down as close to the size of the other image as possible. And then I just want to line it up so that the Gucci is not cut off too much on the edges. So I think I like how that looks. So now what I'm going to do is, just like I selected the 2 images before to slice, I'm going to use my mouse to select both of these images together, and I'm going to go to slice. Okay, now we can see here that we have our slice images. So the first image here is just the outside. And you'll see here when I take it away, that's what disappears. That we don't need, so I'm going to delete it. The next image here, the next three images, you can't really tell which is which. So to know which one that you want to keep and take away, usually I will make all of them blind with the eyeball there next to it. And then one at a time, I'll bring them back. So I see that this bottom one, the third slice, it actually looks like it's just the outline. So I don't want to keep that. I'm going to delete it. The second one here, it also looks like it's an outline, and I don't want that. So I'm going to delete it. So it looks like the one that I'm going to keep here is the first one, and it looks good. That's the actual Gucci print that I want to use. Now, one trick that I will tell you right now is you see the image is a print thin cut right now. We can see that it's print thin cut because it tells us over here on the right, but it also tells us up here under operation. Now, if we go to operation and we change that, and I'm sorry, let me mention that when you do print and cut, this is exactly how it's going to print out. It's black right now, and it will print out black because that's how we uploaded it. Now, if you would like to change the color, you can go to operation, change it to basic cut. So it's under the cut option, go to basic. And then you'll get a little box here to the right. It no longer has a question mark. Now it has a gray color. What we can do here, I'm just going to use this as an example, is we're going to change it to red. Okay? I'm going to click back on my image, and I'm going to use the operation drop down again. Go all the way down to the bottom. Under the print then cut, it says standard. And now it went back to how it looked before, but now it's red. So that's just an option for you because you can modify this however you like. But I want to keep mine red, excuse me, want to keep mine black. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change it back here. Okay, so now what we need to do is attach that Gucci print to our white layer. So I'm going to select my white layer here with my mouse. I'm going to bring it up here to the Gucci. Now, just to make sure it's aligned, I'm going to select both of them here. I'm going to go to align, and I'm going to center it. Okay, now leave that as is. Don't click off yet. Take your mouse and go down to the right bottom and select attach. Okay, so we can see here now it's labeled under attach. It shows the slice result, which is just the Gucci print, and the slice result, which is just the white layer. So what this is going to do is from your printer, you're going to put your paper in, whatever cardstock color you prefer. It's going to print out this print, and then you put it on your Cricut machine and it's going to cut this shape. Okay, so if we were to leave it separate, then it wouldn't do that together. It would print off the Gucci print on a piece of paper, and then you would have to cut this white layer and then glue them together basically. And this is just already doing that process with your Cricut. So, okay, now that I have those two attached, I'm going to leave them be for just a moment. What I do want is you can see here on the side, we have our slice result, which is the black border. And then we have our basic cut here, which is that little black circle at the bottom. Now, I don't want my machine to cut out the border and then separately cut out the circle. It makes more sense to me for them to be together. So over here on the right, I already have the black circle selected. I am using an HP Windows. I'm not using MacBook or anything like that, so I'm not sure how different this will be for MacBook users. So I also want to select the border. So I'm going to press down Shift on my keyboard, and I'm going to select the right border by clicking with my mouse. So now I can see that both of them are selected here. What I want to do is go down and weld. Okay, now we can see here, it shows our weld result, and it shows here the border with the circle in the middle. And that's just a better way of doing it because you don't want to have to glue that circle onto the top or glue it onto the bottom. You just want it to be one single piece that cuts out together. It looks much more neat that way. So once we have that done, now we're going to take our image here that is sliced and attached. We're going to bring it back down here to our other layers. I'm going to leave it selected. I'm going to go to arrange. I'm going to send to back. Okay, now I want to work with my logo. I'm going to move it up here to the top. Now this is already a cut image, so we don't have to change anything on the operation in order to change the color. Now, if you're doing your border and your other layers in a different color than black, then you might want to leave your Gucci logo black. I am not. I would like mine to be gold. So I'm just going to use the yellow that's here. The color that it comes out is going to depend on what cardstock that you actually use. So it doesn't have to be an exact match here in the system. I can see here that my logo is going underneath the black circle and I want it to be on top. So I'm going to keep it selected. I'm going to go to arrange, send to front. All right, then I'm going to center that as best as I can. Okay, I think that's a good size. Now, just to make sure that everything is aligned, I'm going to use my mouse to select all of the layers. I'm going to go up to align, and I'm going to center horizontally, okay? It looks neat now. Now, I know before we were using center, but center would actually move all of this to the middle. Let me show you here. Okay, so then it will move our Gucci logo up, and that's not where we want it. So to fix that, I'm going to use this back arrow here, which is undo. Okay, and it's going to take it back to how it was. Now, I want to go ahead and select all these layers because what I want to do is group them. So I'm going up to this layer on the right, excuse me, to the option on the right. First one is group. That's what I'm going to select. Okay. So now we can see here under group, it shows each layer, including our attached layers. They're still there together. If we were to ungroup this, it's still going to show those layers attached because we did that process before we did the actual grouping. Okay. So I'm going to go and group it back. Okay, now you can minimize this if you like by selecting the down arrow. You want to open it back up, select the right arrow. All right, so grouping it together means that if you move this item, everything within that group is going to move together. When you resize it, it's all going to go together, okay? And that's exactly what we want since we have that just how we like it. All right, now we're going to move on to the next. So, same process here. First, we're going to ungroup. We're going to select the white layer. We're going to duplicate that. All right, move it up here out of the way. I'm going to select the black and white layer because I just want it to be a border. I'm going to slice. Okay, I don't have to slide back up. I know the black image is what I no longer want, that layer. I'm going to delete. Okay, now the slice result that we currently have, the border with the inside, we don't need to attach that because we don't want it attached. Those are going to be two separate pieces that are cut on the machine at two separate times. If we were to attach that, then it's going to turn this part black also. And as to just show you as an example, if we were to attach those, then it thinks it's one piece now, and that's not what we want. So we leave that unattached or detached. Now, actually, just a tip and trick if there are any beginners, if you attach something and then you no longer want it attached, just select detach. It's in the same spot where attach was, but now it says detach, and that undoes that for you. Okay, but now it's going to change the colors a bit. So I'm going to back arrow. All right, so we have our border taken care of. Now we want to work on attaching our white layer to the Gucci print. I'm going to send my Gucci print to the front. I'm going to size it down to be as close to the size of the square here as possible. Let's see. You can just play with this however you like. I'm just a bit of a perfectionist and I like stuff to look very neat, which is not a bad thing. Okay, so I think that's good. So I'm going to select those two layers together. I'm going to go down and slice. Okay. All right. Now it shows us our 4 slice results here. We're going to select the bottom because we know we don't want that one, and we know that because of the last image that we did. The next one and the top one. Okay. Now I noticed here that this Gucci seems to be a little darker than this one. This looks like a grayish color. So I am going to use that trick that I showed you to change the color. I'm changing it to a basic cut. I'm going to change the color to black. And then I'm going to change it back to a standard print and cut. All right. So that looks good to me. I'm going to take my white layer here and bring it up to the print. I'm selecting both. And I'm going to align centered. Okay. Then we're going to attach. Going to bring that image back down. We're going to arrange and send that to the back. All right. Then we're going to select the whole image. We are going to align centered. And then we are going to group. All right, so that looks good. The next one, we're doing the exact same thing. We're ungrouping. We're duplicating the white layer, moving that up out of the way, selecting both the black and white layers, slicing. Got to scroll up here. We're selecting the white layer, and that's one reason why I like to keep it all together, the ones that are grouped. So we're selecting the inside of the black image. That's what this is. We're going to delete it so that it just leaves the border. Okay, so we're going to take our Gucci print, do the same as before. Going to size it down. We need to arrange it to the front. One other thing that I want to mention, if you don't want to go through this process of duplicating and attaching all a second time, what you can do is just go to your layer here, the second image that we've already done. You can select attach on the side because that will bring up those two slice and attach items. And you can just duplicate that. Okay? You can duplicate that, delete this white layer, and just use that here. Okay? And you want to go ahead and center, align. All right, and then you know that these are both going to look exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. highlighted them both and select delete. They're both going to go away. Okay, so we do want to still go ahead and group that because we want that to all move together. Okay, now the last thing we have here is just this big square or rectangle. Now the reason I'm going to move these over to the side a little. The reason I have the rectangle is because that's what we're going to use as the inside of the card. You're going to need to glue all three of these items on top of that, basically on the back of that. The next video will actually show you how you're going to make it, so definitely stay tuned for that. Now, you can size this however you'd like. I'm deciding to do this at a 6x8 only because I want to be able to make my envelope using a regular sheet of paper, which is an 8.5 by 11. If I do anything bigger than that, then I would have to get maybe like a 12 by 12 sheet or use construction paper or like a poster board or something like that. And I just want to keep it simple for now. I just want to use a 6x8. So in order to size it, I could use the arrow here and move it to 6x8. To make it easier, what I'm going to do is up here at the top where it says size, W is for the width, H is for the height. Now, there's a little lock here and it's locked at the current time, okay? Now, if I use these up and down arrows to change my measurements, it's going to change both the width and the height together. What I want to do, only because I know the exact width and height that I want, I'm going to select that lock and now it's unlocked, okay? So now I know I want my width to be 6 inches. So I'm going to type in 6 and hit enter. I'm going to select the height, select 8 and enter, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and lock that back because I don't want it to resize, okay? So we know that the height is 8 inches. So to be safe, we're going to have all three of these. So to be safe, let me zoom in a little so you can see it a little better. Okay. We want to make each of these 3 inches because that's going to equal 6. And it'll leave 2 inches for the flap, okay? And those 2 inches really only need to cover from here to here. You don't have to do it all the way from the top to the corner here, just from here to here. So what I want to do with this part, and the width needs to be 6 inches because that's the width of our card. So I'm going to pull this out to make it 6 inches. Okay, and actually, now what I want to do is pull it to where I know that that box is 2 inches. So I know that it's 2 inches here because from here to here is 1 inch. From here to here is a 2nd inch. So now I know that this part is 6 inches wide, 2 inches wide, I'm sorry. Now I'm going to go up to the top and unlock it. And I'm going to change only the height. Going to change that to 6. Okay. Then I'm going to lock that back. Okay. Now I can go ahead with the other two. And I know that I need them to be 6x3. Oh, and look at that. They're actually already 6x3. So that works out. And what you can do here to make sure that that's all correct is you can line them up. You can put this one there, go to align bottom. You can put this one here. Okay. And then this one, what you would want to do, this little curved arrow here allows you to rotate. Okay. You can rotate manually that way, or you can always go up here where it says rotate and just put in the number you want it to rotate to. So I'm putting 180, all right, just to make sure it's right. Then I can put this here, and I know that that's going to cover the other 2 inches. Okay, so we know it's going to be aligned here, and we'll have a little open for our flap. Just going to separate these. Actually, just to be a little, well, actually, no, I think that's good. So I want to go ahead and flip this back. So to flip it back right side up, I would change the rotate to 0. Okay. And something that I forgot to mention before is usually when you first open your document, you're going to want to go ahead and save it under a name. And that's only because if something happens with the system and it closes out or you have some kind of glitch before you finish your project, you're going to lose everything if you hadn't hit save. And that's a mistake that I make pretty often. So just try to remember to do that at the beginning of your project and also in the middle of your project. Like sometimes you want to do that after every major change that you make. Sorry, I have to plug the laptop in here. So you can select different collections if you like. I'm going to put this under cards. And then in the title, you want to name it what it is. So I'm just going to name this Gucci Card 1. Going to go to save. Okay. Click the check mark. And now everything should be good. I hope you guys enjoyed that video and that it was helpful for you. Stay tuned for the next video, which will show you how to make it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this. Thanks. God bless.